Okay, so I was thinking the other day, I was like, man, if there's one thing that I really don't understand about how society works, it's the whole money thing. So I decided to do a little research, and this is what I came up with. Humans use these flat disks to exchange for goods and services. We call them money. But why? Why do we use these flat disks? Like, can't we just trade stuff directly? So, like, if I want some food, I have a bag of chips and I want an apple, I should be able to just be like, hey, you got any apples? I got a bag of chips. We can just trade straight up. But that's not how things work, is it? I mean, at a restaurant. Sure. You walk in, you sit down, you're like, I'll have some fries, a cheeseburger, and a Sprite. And then when it comes time to pay, they're like, would you like to pay with cash or card? And I'm like, well, I don't have any cash, but I do have a card. And they're like, great, hand us your card. So I hand over my card, and then they charge me. I don't know what that means, but apparently it means that I owe them money. So I guess technically I did pay with cash. What? The whole thing doesn't make any sense. It seems like we could all just get together and agree that, like, hey, listen, if you give me this bag of chips, I will give you an apple. If you give me a cheeseburger, I will give you fries and a Sprite. Seems simple enough, right? But no. Instead, we use money. We use this hunk of metal or this number in your bank account that represents a certain amount of value in order to facilitate the transaction of goods and services. Bah! Why? Like, what is this thing? It doesn't even look real. Is it magic? So, I looked it up, and what I found out was actually really interesting. The word money originates from the Latin word moneta, which itself originated from the Greek word myth. And if you guessed that mithna meant shiny metal disc, well, you'd be wrong. In fact, if you looked up the definition of mithna, you would find that it actually means to measure. Fascinating. Apparently, the original concept behind money was that it would be a way to measure the value of goods and services. So, like, back in the day, they didn't have iPhones, so they had to use their imaginations. They're like, what is something that we can use to measure the value of things? And apparently they came up with the idea of using precious metals because, well, they were precious, and they were metals. So they started using precious metals as a way to measure the value of things. Then they realized that it was kind of inconvenient to carry around these precious metals. So they started making these little discs out of the precious metals. Then they realized that it was still kind of inconvenient to carry around these little discs. So they started making these even smaller discs. And eventually they came up with the idea of using paper money, which was great, until it got all soggy and wet. Then they invented coins, which were great, until you got down to the last few crumbs of metal. Then they invented the almighty credit card, which is basically a piece of plastic that has a magnetic strip on it. That allows you to buy things without having to physically exchange anything. It's fascinating. It's like this whole evolution of the concept of money, which was originally intended to be a way to measure the value of things, has resulted in this piece of plastic that you can use to buy things without ever having to think about what those things are actually worth. I mean, think about it. When you go to the grocery store and you swipe your credit card, you're not really thinking about how much each individual item is actually worth. You're really just thinking about how much money do I have in my account, and will this purchase exceed my current balance? If not, then okay, let's do it. Bye. You're not really thinking about the actual value of the things that you're purchasing. You're just thinking about money. And so I think that's the real magic of money. It's not these little pieces of metal or paper that we exchange, but rather it is this abstract concept that we all agree upon as a society that allows us to buy and sell things without having to actually think about their value. Thanks, guys.